have another true story here to tell you guys. And this one is concerning the romantic approaches of the JW organization or the people themselves. Now, this religion being so isolationist or keep to themselves quite a bit, and that goes to prospective mates or girlfriends, boyfriends, romantic interest or whatnot. The pool for that is pretty low. I mean, you figure there's only 8 million JWs worldwide, and in quite a few places, even less than that. So the chances of you finding somebody to, spend some time with romantically and things of that nature is pretty slim, or there's slim pickings. And then with the JW dogma puts in a whole lot of, complications with something that should be, natural. I wouldn't say easy because, anything to do with the heart is definitely not easy and it's very complicated. But having the JW input into it just makes it even that more so complicated for those folks. There's thousands and thousands of examples of all sorts of scenarios, whether you a JW person that really likes a worldly person or the other way around, or you could be gay and not really, pursue that route because you'll get kicked out. And that happens quite a bit as well. Or so many other instances as well. So, in my opinion, I think there's a really big unhealthy dose of relationship realities within the JW community. I mean, it's not realistic, really, and they make do with what they got. At least the ones that are hardcore card-carrying JW members. So the Watchtower organization does not condone or highly discourages their parishioners from dating outside the faith. So a baptized JW member cannot go out and date a worldly person, such as myself or anybody else outside their religion, unless there may be some caveats here and there, some exceptions, but very rarely. Like in my case, I met my wife while she was disfellowship, and that was one of those loopholes that sort of allowed her, at least consciously or whatever, to do the green light as far as dating outside the religion. And most of the unevenly yoked relationships that I see within the organization, I mean, other people married to worldly spouses throughout the organization, that seems to be, what's going on. They get this fellowship, they play the field, I guess, if you will, and they wind up meeting a worldly person, whether it be men or women, and go through that route, fall in love, get married, couple of kids, and, all that. Mostly what I see is women marrying worldly men and not the other way around. But I'm sure there's women out there that's married to, husbands that are within the organization. As a matter of fact, there was another YouTube channel that I haven't heard from in quite a while that was the case. But like I was getting at before, with such added pressure among many other pressures that the organization applied to their parishioners, in my opinion, I think there's an unhealthy sort of, balance there, or, sort of subculture of, getting romantically involved with somebody within the organization. Very unhealthy. Could be a congregation that has an uneven ratio of genders. Either you have a lot of women and not enough men, or the other way around. And I've seen that quite a bit. What I see in my area, as far as my wife's congregation here, I think there's uh, too many men, or so from that particular scenario that I've seen, or what I'm looking at or observing actually in the wild of the JW habitat, is that these men are just, not settling for someone who they are compatible with, or something to that effect. They'll just pick up anything that rolls by, and that includes the women as well. There are some women there that are just jumping on whatever available good standing male JW person is out there. And from my perspective, when my wife first introduced herself, got involved in the local congregation here when we moved to this area, she was hit on quite a bit by a lot of the men, the single men in that particular congregation, and congregations around, when they, go to their assemblies and so forth. And she does wear a wedding band and everything, and you figure that's the first place you will look if you're looking for a mate, to see if that particular person is available. She wears her ring every day. There's no doubt that they haven't noticed it. I mean, the engagement ring with the wedding ring at the same time. So there's no doubt that, she is married, my wife, of course. But I'm usually not there to accompany her to the meetings or anything because I don't want to be there. But these men still somewhat, try to make a move. And the thing is, I think these men are totally overlooking the wedding band on my wife. And when she goes to the meetings, she has, our kids with her as well. So, that's another indication that this person is probably married or whatever. But these guys are so desperate that they overlook all that and somewhat try to, ask her out or something to that effect. And these men really don't know that my wife is either married to another JW person or a worldly person. They don't know right off the bat. So I think these men really don't honor the marriage vow of either themselves or other couples out there. In any event, my wife told them that she's married and everything and moves on. And this wasn't an isolated case either. It happened a good 2, 3 times that she's been, approached in that manner, with the same scenario of, she's got the kids with her, and also she's wearing her, wedding ring and things like that. And but I think it all stopped after I made either 1 or 2 visits to the Kingdom Hall in the meeting or whatever, just to accompany her, and picnics and things like that. So that kind of stopped there. But then I started thinking about some of the other instances of, of not a normal sort of relationship type of deal going on in the Jehovah Witnesses when it comes to couples. There's a lot of instances of infidelity. And I don't care who you are, no one is immune to that particular, circumstance. Or I'm talking about any groups out there. No one is immune to that, and the JW community is definitely not immune to it, because I get the gossip from my wife every time we talk and everything, and throughout all the places that we lived in, there were quite a bit of infidelity going on, where so and so has gotten disfellowship, and obviously everybody knows why. I mean, even though it's not publicly announced why they got disfellowship, the rumor mill will come around and you will know the reason why. And a lot of the reasons that I heard of that these people are getting disfellowship was because of infidelity. Another would be smoking or something like that, or some other case there. But so one of the most common reasons why I see people being disfellowship, at least from what I observed, was infidelity. Mostly men. I don't think I've heard of a woman being disfellowship for that reason. But in any case, Some of these men that I've seen that got disfellowship, it's one of those cases where you're told, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird because the outward appearance or the impression that you get of these men is that they're really pious, they're really into the religion, and they're poster child for the JW organization. For instance, like there's this one couple from another place that we lived at and I actually liked this couple. They were really nice, and I got along with them really well. We have good conversations and stuff like that, and I could see myself really being genuine friends with them. And an inside joke that I have with my wife concerning this particular couple is if what's his name ever cheated on his wife, then that's one of the signs of the apocalypse coming to Earth. I mean, that's how in high regard my wife and I had towards this couple. Well, this couple, it wasn't this couple that got this fellowship or whatever. There's no problem there, but there's other men of almost the same caliber that you would not suspect, and you just don't know what goes around behind closed doors in any society. Then there are cases of just general sexual harassment. And I haven't heard too much about that. I'm sure it takes place everywhere. And from direct experience, it looked like it happened to my wife this past early in the year. And this is the way it went down. My wife, she went to this person that owns a contracting business of some sort. And I want to say that JW people, they have a JW economy. If possible, they will only solicit business from, within the religion as well. Keep everything in-house, everything, even, services and whatnot. So she went to this person to have an estimate to have something done or something to that effect. And they exchanged numbers and everything. So this particular male started texting my wife, about, things and that. And more and more became a bit more strange and weird. And, slight innuendos without really going overboard into outright saying, I want to jump your bones or anything to that effect. But it was slowly ramping up that particular, route. So finally, my wife, she was telling me about these text messages and stuff like that, and she didn't know what to make of it or anything. And this past month there, she showed me the last string of texts coming from this person, and I copied it, and this is the exact text on your screen right there. This particular string of text messages wasn't the only ones. She had some from a couple of months before that she's been collecting. She was collecting this sort of as evidence as to, what this person is doing, so she could do something on her own or whatever, possibly go through the elders and have something done. But it was bothering her enough to where she let me know about it. And when I seen that, I was like, this needs to stop. So as you can see through the text message, I texted back saying, hey, this is, the worldly spouse's spouse, that these messages is inappropriate and it needs to stop right now. Well, after a few minutes, he did call live on the phone there, or I think I tried calling live, I forgot. But he was playing dumb, completely dumb, like he didn't know what I was talking about, who is this person, my wife, and all that. But, from that point on, my patience was really wearing thin because now he was insulting my intelligence. I'm like, listen, these messages has gone back a few months, And whenever you text anybody, you'll see the whole string of text messages from that particular period, throughout the lifetime of that conversation. So I know you know who this is. I know who you've been trying to contact, and I know, the particulars about this case. So I didn't get mad at him. I didn't, curse him out or anything. I knew my phone call, live person on the other end talking with a voice, not a text, would be enough of a signal for a JW person to sort of get scared and not attempt this again, which is exactly what happened. At that point, interestingly enough, my wife was worried that, this might get back at her, but I've sort of reassured her that in this particular case of suspected, sexual harassment, and we have proof with, the printout of the text, that I doubt that this person will pursue the issue as far as going to the elders or anything like that. My wife could have gone to the elders, but she didn't want to, stir any trouble. She just wanted to stop, and I was satisfied with that as well. So like I said, we contacted him and squashed the whole situation then and there without getting ugly, which would have gone pretty ugly if this thing persisted. But since to this date, nothing else has developed, and I consider the case squashed. But this person is affiliated or related to sort of like this area's JW royalty in a way. There's like these huge big families that they're all JWs, and they have a lot of influence within the congregation as far as the social, makeup of it. And I don't think any of them are elders, maybe one or two. I don't really know, but they're highly respected. And they're an old family from that area that's been around, and multiple generations of JWs within that congregation. So there's only like maybe two or three families that are like that. That there are, multiple members, multiple generations, and if you go foul to one of those families, then that whole family can shun you, indirectly and unsanctioned. You'll be marked, and then that influence will sort of overlap into the other families, and the rumor mill and stuff like that. So my wife was really worried about this person going to his family about the situation and spreading false gossip or something like that. But I don't believe that has happened. And I told her that, usually in cases of sexual harassment like this, that they will keep quiet and not say anything, because then their reputation will be in question. And like I said, we have proof that this person has been, texting inappropriate content to a married woman. And in those circles, the JW circles, I would imagine that is a disfellowshipping offense. Depending on the area, like I said, and who you know, and how much influence you got, with the elders, they might sweep it under the rug, like I've seen before happened with my wife's father. But yeah, there's a lot of that going on, but that has not happened. It kind of stopped. But yet again, another example of JW hypocrisy. But in fairness, things like this is actually prevalent, through all societies and social structures. But I think in the JW Watchtower organization is just, exasperated a bit more so than regular societies, because they have such a control over people's relationships with each other. So there's an unhealthy sort of, culture there when it comes to dating. Now, with the problems that the Watchtower Society has with pedophiles, you could imagine, instances of sexual harassment is even more rampant than, sexual abuse by pedophiles and whatnot. Don't know that for sure, but it's in my opinion, and possibly that's what's going on. In my little example here, it has happened to us in a low-level way. Of course, if it was even more pursued even more, then yeah, there would have been problems. I don't answer to no one over there, and I will get in their faces. All right, so another example of that little story. I'll end the video here and add another, testimony of what goes on every day in the JW Watchtower Society organization.